Hey everyone, Connie here with a review for the third episode of Helluva Boss. So we're continuing doing these reviews per episode because it's like they come out so sporadically and all over the place. It's like, why not? The background's a little different because if I was sitting on the couch, it'd be just light in my face at the time I'm recording this, and it's just too much. So, anyways, let's get on with this. So, um, episode 3 of this is it's basically a competition episode between our main characters of Imp and some new characters introduced. Um, and it focuses heavily on sexuality in comparison to previous episodes, which was more about just general, like, swearing and ultra violence and even some horror elements. Because this one, our main characters have to compete against a group of succubi and incubi, led by a demon pop singer of all character archetypes to go with, named Verosica. And yeah, the episode had a lot of really fun moments in it. Just a lot of really good jokes. There were a couple fourth wall jokes that were just really funny. But a lot of the humor came from the character of Moxie, actually. Um, which is a little surprising because he's just, I don't know, it's just he was probably one of my least favorite characters when I first saw the pilot and everything. And even as the series has been going along, I haven't liked him as much as other characters, but it's like every episode it seems like I just like him a little more and more. And I still don't like him as much as Millie or um other characters we've seen throughout these episodes. And even other characters who just debuted in this one, which I'll talk about in a moment, but I've liked him more and more. Um, so this episode introduces a few new characters, only a couple of which are actually notably relevant. The rest of which are more background side characters. So the main ones introduced are Verosica Mayday, the pop star I formerly mentioned. She is a succubus who used to be dating Blitz, and she has a great personality. She's voiced by Christina Valenzuela, um, more commonly known as Christina V. So that's fun. And then she has a bodyguard who's the other notable new character, named Vortex, who is a hellhound like Luna. And then there's a bunch of other succubi and incubi in there, and they all have names the character designer gave them. Like there's this one kind of shorter one, kind of shorter, chubbier one named Milky, who's honestly my favorite. But I'll get into why in a bit. Because that's kind of like an over encompassing thing about the entire episode, really. So I'll get to that in a moment. Um, Verosica and Vortex are both really cool characters that both help develop our main characters a little more. Verosica helping develop Blitz a little more, giving him a little more backstory, a little more character, a little more depth. While Vortex actually helps bring some depth to Luna, who prior to this was kind of one note, in my opinion. She was your very stereotypical goth girl archetype. Um, but this episode actually helps develop her a little bit more and make her, in my opinion, more of an actual character. Um, so there's that for sure. There's also music in this episode. There's a kind of throwaway song at the beginning and a kind of a much better song later on, sung by Christina V. Um, for her character. And again, I'll get to that in a minute. Vortex I know this kind of seems like all over the place, this review, but this came out days ago and everything, and it's like I wanted to review it sooner. I just kept forgetting. So I'm just trying to go kind of off memory at the moment, days later. I mean, I've seen it many times since, but with reactions and stuff. But yeah, Vortex, he ends up being a really cool guy. He has a really chill personality, and he helps Luna kind of come out of her shell a little bit. But also, there's also kind of a romance angle in the fact that Luna has a crush on him. But he's a really cool character. Um, so, as the basically, here's the general gist of the plot. Our main characters uh, end up getting into a bit of a spat with the succubi incubi group, Verosika's group. Let's just call it that for sake of ease. So Blitz challenges Verosika to, well, as he puts it, a challenge. um, and basically, the gist is it's spring break up in the human world, and he's betting Verosika that Imp can like kill more people up there during spring break as part of their job. Uh, Kill more people than the succubi and incubi can fuck. And that's the general gist of the challenge. It's just we can kill more people than you can fuck during spring break. Um, Verosika accepts the challenge, and so they start planning out how to go about this. We learn Luna has the ability to disguise herself as a human, and so as they go up there, Luna lures other humans who are their targets kind of into alleys and stuff while Blitz and them take them out. While up there, while they're doing this, though, Verosika ends up putting on a concert for the humans while in her own human disguise, using her succubus powers to be able to basically cause everyone to want to fuck each other. It's kind of like this mating call situation going on. The other succubi and incubi help out while in their human disguises they're like flirting with and fucking all these other people as well, and it basically just creates this giant orgy on the beach. um, and uh, Verosika has this like demon juice. I forgot exactly what it was called. Like it was some kind of riff on the word Beelzebub. Um, but she's drinking it during the concert as well, and she ends up throwing and it falls into the ocean and causes a fish to turn into this demonic kaiju monster, and it's amazing. Um, Moxie gets drunk, and so Millie ends up having to save him from the fish monster. Um, and in the end, Blitz and them win because with all the chaos that kind of everyone caused, including Verosika, they Blitz and her kind of come to an agreement to just forget this ever happened, as long as he gets the spot, a parking spot back that she had taken from him previously in the episode. So it's really silly and goofy and fun, but then there's the other side to it that a lot of people have been talking about, at least I've noticed on Twitter specifically. The episode is, well, as obvious, very sexual. It is about, well, focused on incubi and succubi, which basically, just to put it in simple terms, are like demons that thrive on sex and lure people into fucking them in order to feed off of them and stuff. There's a lot more to it, and various versions in various media and mythology vary to some degrees, but that's the gist of it. So obviously there's a lot of sex in this, but there's also a lot of sexy characters and character designs. And Vivzi and her crew went all out on making these characters attractive as part of their gimmick. I mean, it makes sense to make them as hot as possible. And a lot of people have been noting about this on Twitter, not only from Verosika, but other characters as well. There's a couple of male incubi who are noted as being very attractive by a lot of people. There's the small, chubbier one I mentioned, my favorite, whose name is Milky. Um, she is extremely hot. And yeah, even Vortex, the Hellhound bodyguard for Verosika, whose human disguise is like this big, tough looking guy, but he's still very soft spoken, and it's great. He's a nice guy. He's like nice as hell, but he's really big and intimidating looking. Um, Even his human form is really attractive, and it's like they really, even though he's just a hellhound, he's not even a succubus or incubus. So, but they still made an effort of making these characters attractive for the sake of the episode and for its focus, and they really succeeded. Because, like I said, all these characters are hot, and it's like people have been going crazy over them. Again, from Verosika to Vortex to the Incubi to the other Succubi, and it's like even some of the human designs people have noted as being very attractive, and I like that because it's like you see all these shows where these characters are like, yeah, they're made attractive, but that's not the focus, that's not the point. But here you have it where it is the point. It's literally the intention to make them super attractive. And it succeeds, but it also feels, in a weird way, respectful about it, if that makes any sense. It doesn't feel like it's just doing it like for the sake of fan service or anything. It doesn't feel like it's doing it for just to kind of push the boundaries or be adult. No, it actually feels more natural, and I like that. It makes it come across as much more integrated into this world, into this universe that Vivzi and her crew have created, and I really appreciate that. I think it really lends itself well to the, as I tend to call it, Vivzi verse. um, then there's the song I mentioned that Verosika sings. It's called "Vacate to Bone Town," and it's obviously very sexually explicit and very heavy with that kind of ideal with it. Because again, she's a succubus and she's literally using it as a mating call to get everybody super fucking horny. So it makes sense. And the song is really well sang, but Christina Valenzuela can sing extremely well. She's always been able to sing extremely well, so it's not a surprise. Um, the lyrics even have some like kind of jokes in them about her being a succubus and everything. There's actually some funny stuff within the lyrics themselves. Um, and just throughout the episode, all the characters feel like they have a purpose. Luna has an entire story plot going on with her interest in Vortex, as well as just being relevant to the mission for Imp, being able to create the human disguise and everything. Blitz has his rivalry with Verosika. Millie and Moxie have a little bit of a storyline going on in the later half. Once Moxie gets super drunk, and they continue to be a super cute couple, like just great chemistry and everything. Um, the the main characters of the new characters, Verosika and Vortex, again, they connect with the main characters, so they feel more like purposeful, and even the minor succubi and incubi feel like they're there to further the idea of this kind of, again, orgy on the beach that's going on. Um, so they don't feel like they're just there. They feel like they actually have purpose. The visuals are as great as ever. The voice acting is fantastic. Really, I would say this is one of the best Vivziverse episodes out there. And it just keeps impressing me how each episode of Helluva Boss specifically does keep getting better and better and better. Each episode is just better than the last. And it's really impressive and surprising because, as you guys know, I did not like the pilot. Um, but it's like each episode of the actual series that we're getting is just better than the last. And it's like, it's astounding to me. Um, but the last episode, episode 2, had a lot more heart and like focus on emotion to it than this one. This one was definitely more delving into the sexuality aspect, and it went heavy with that, and that's fine. Not every episode has to have a lot of heart and emotion and depth like that. Um, Honestly, if every episode did have that, it would kind of feel it would make less of an impact when it did happen. Um, and to close this out and everything, um, I just really enjoyed the episode. It was fun. It was really funny at points. There's a joke they make, for example, about how people are fawning over Luna's design. Uh, Basically, Blitz says something along the lines of, "You know how the freaks up there uh, see someone like you." I don't remember the exact wording, but then they all just for a second look at the camera with this judgmental expression, and it's hilarious. Um, it's just fantastic. um, but yeah, outside of that, it's just really fun to watch, and part of that is the sexuality aspect of it. Like, yeah, it's sexy, it's horny as hell, and it gets the viewers horny. It gets the viewers to be interested in these characters, and there's nothing wrong with that. A lot of people might find that weird, but there's nothing wrong with finding characters attractive or being horny for characters or whatnot, especially when a show is intending to do that. It's it's a part of fan culture in a way. And as long as it's not overdone, or as long as it doesn't feel like too unnaturally heavy or unnaturally just over the top, then it's fine. And it's not like the episode delved into pornography like heavily or anything. It didn't we didn't get to see anything like that. Um, it just kept it very sexually charged in terms of its presentation without going over the line into pornography. um, that's for the fan artists. And I've already seen some. But in all seriousness, yeah, it was just a really fun, enjoyable episode that I feel developed on characters, gave us a good, enjoyable story, and had fun with the idea of sexuality with its characters. And that's perfectly okay. So tell me in the comments below what you thought of episode 3 of Helluva Boss. And next time, I promise I'll get to the review much earlier after it comes out, so I don't have so much trouble forming my thoughts and everything um, when I'm actually doing this review. But yeah, thank you so much for tuning in. And for now, I'm Connie and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.